It's only a matter of time before Jasmy starts to absolutely explode once again. Why Q4 lockup? We seem to have talked about it. Everyone seems to have talked about it. But what's truly going on? We're going to break down a couple of key factors in this video so that you're up to speed with everything going on with Jasmy. Let's get into it. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you do not miss $1 in profit in this bull market. And like we said, let's talk about Jasmy and the Q4 lockup. Now, it feels like a while since we did talk about the lockup, and it feels like one of those things that everyone seems to know it's happening, but not truly when or what sits behind it. And we're sort of going to talk about some of the narratives and equally my view on what's going on. Now, we know Jasmy has been on a slight correction. The overall cryptocurrency market did break an all-time high, down about 2.59 trillion, though off the top of that 2.61, but still 1.3% up. Now, interestingly, on CoinMarketCap, we still see Jasmy is trending. You see it here, just 0.78 up on the day, our volume down as you would expect, but that 21.39 price range after a meteoric rise from that 202.85, which is where we were buying it from the community. So when we talk about Q4 lockup, and look, the premise behind this is taking the circulating supply, locked up into institutions, and then ultimately used by them to take it off the market and, you know, work in such a way that the institutions are corrected and connected to Jasmy using IoT and, more importantly, the data democratization. Well, we start by taking a look at some of the network more recently that we know Hara's been doing, whether that be Arcstream Capital, Manta Network, Polar Hydra, and many, many others. They were at ETH Denver, really connecting with as many people from some of these big corporations that you would expect in some respects would want to hold Jasmy coin, particularly when you think about what they do, venture capitalist firms, equally in data, and more importantly in the kind of tech sector. It's really important. Now, there was a very good article that was written particularly about the Q4 lockup. I want to bring us back ultimately to what it's all about, and this was written again by some of the development teams from Jasmy, and I quote: "We are trying to solve this problem in two ways," talking about ERC20 tokens and ultimately how that works in terms of technology and engineering. It says the first is to store the crypto asset as a treasury in a place where ERC20 tokens can be safely stored and issue tokens on the consortium chain for the same amount. We describe this as a token lockup. And this is the important bit here. I think a lot of people believe we are simply going to take the entire circulating supply of Jasmy coin and just lock that up. I think it's much more deep than that. We have Junction coming up very soon. We obviously have a lot of the connections that go together, and we obviously talk about deep in and where Jasmy can absolutely make a difference. So I think this is where people are just getting a little bit hung up, is that this is going to be bigger than we all think. There's going to be much more assets that go into it. We already know that they're trying to launch their secondary chain to support tokenization of what they're bringing, both in terms of data and in terms of like hardware product. It says here, we will build on an economic sphere where the token will actually be earned and spent within Jasmy's service. We are preparing to operate an ecosystem aimed at regional development within the fund token application, which has already been operated in cooperation with a sports team. Now, if you remember, I've talked about that way back when in a video I did about Jasmy, which ultimately is talking about how they tokenize what Jasmy is trying to solve. So again, we're still in the dark in terms of what's going on in Q4 lockup, but at the same time, it's going to be bigger, I think, than a lot of people realize. There's going to be so much more to it than a lot of people realize. And I think even the point here with the team is really important. It quotes, "And the development of Jasmy Lab is to grant rights to the data resources held by the overwhelming majority of individuals, create value, and distribute it to Web3 users. We will provide Web3 users with the option to make their lives a little richer through many opportunities to earn rewards." So again, these are where institutions, people that want your data, are going to have the Jasmy coin or the tokenization of it in order to access your data through the Jasmy ecosystem. Very important. The other thing to reference as well is obviously Q4 in Japan is just gone live. March 8th is kind of when we deem Q4. And obviously we know that GDP is talking about avoiding a recession. Incredibly bullish. If you're a marketeer, you want to really maximize your potential with the coin. Well, you've got to think about when you launch it. You've got to think about the market and what you are launching it into. So I think it's very strategic. Now, the price. Obviously, people want to know what's going on with it. I talked about this yesterday, creating a nice little bull flag here at the upper trend line on the daily. Everything looking good. The only watch out, we had a negative cross on the MACD and the RSI is trending slightly down. That is a slight bearish move. However, we have had a blow off top of 70K for Bitcoin. So we'll have to see what happens. If we go into more high time frame, we see the weekly candle. Again, just a good bit of consolidation, and interestingly hit that high around that 27. So again, I think we've seen some consolidation like we saw, followed by, in my view, a pretty strong breakout. Likewise, just for reference, if you were to fib this, and it is very interesting when you do take this, and you bring it up there, you can see we're just holding on the 236 line. We could see this break above and then start to push that little bit higher when it comes to Jasmy. So in my view, I think Q4 lockup will come very soon, but I don't think it's what everyone believes. I think we're going to see more tokenization. I think we could even see Junction come out. But what I do know is it's going to be fantastic for Jasmy, fantastic for the price, and ultimately fantastic for you if you're holding it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. What's your view of all the Q4 lockup information? And if you enjoyed this content, you want to hear more about Jasmy, hit that subscribe button, turn your notification bell on, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.